Hey guys, and welcome to another episode of All Around Hockey, the YouTube channel for the All Around Hockey fan. So today we're continuing on with our series, looking at all 32 NHL teams, examining what they look like currently and what other moves could possibly be made as the offseason has started to die down a little bit. This episode, we're going to go over the Minnesota Wild, the team that's been in a lot of rumors the last couple of days. I made a leaving a little short video the other day about the Quinn Hughes situation and the Dylan Larkin trade that still hasn't happened yet. And some Minnesota fans are starting to get a little panicked. Some of them think everything's going to work out just fine. So this should be an interesting video to see what other video moves could be made. I definitely think Minnesota's a team that's definitely still got a lot to do this offseason and definitely have that one answer that still needs to be answered, which is a number one center, or at least another top six center to kind of sure things up. That's definitely something Bill Guerin was trying to get this offseason. Has not happened yet. Let's currently look at the rosters, how they are lined up here on Puckpedia. We have Kirill Kaprizov, the former highest paid player in the National Hockey League, no longer. He's got his new contract extension now that is kicked in at $17 million a season. Joel Eriksson Ek, somebody who they really missed in the playoffs, was a really huge blow, and another reason why I think they want to answer and get another center. Matthew Boldy there, Olympic gold medalist winner, scored the opening goal in the gold medal game. Blake Coleman, who they brought in from the Calgary Flames. Nice little 1 year deal. He's got one more year left on that contract. Could be a decent pickup for him. Ryan Hartman had a big year. He's currently occupying that second line center spot. Bobby Brink, who they brought in from the Philadelphia Flyers. Urov Tiernan there and Daniil Yurov are on that third line. Daniil Yurov is obviously the name linked mostly to a Dylan Larkin trade that hasn't happened yet still. They have Shabanov there. And then Marcus and Nick Foligno. They're in the fourth line with Michael McCarron, who they brought in and signed to a big contract extension this offseason. And obviously, the big name that everyone's talking about the last few days in the news is Quinn Hughes. Will he sign an extension with Minnesota? Will he not? We'll go over that a little bit. Brock Faber, another gold medal winning defenseman there. Jonas Brodin is a solid top four defenseman. Jared Spurgeon is the captain of the team, still on the team. Oli Mata, who again they got in the Jacob Middleton trade, along with Blake Coleman, Zach Bogosian, and then Jesper Wallstedt and Calvin Pickett's currently the goaltending tandem with Philip Gustafson injured. And then you got Strom, Hunt, and Kirkland there to round things out for them in that lineup. You can see how their stats were last season. They ended with a record of 46, 24, and 12, finishing third in the Central Division behind with John Hynes as the coach. He'll be the coach again this year. As you can see, they ended up with 10th in the league with 268 goals for and 235 goals against, which was fourth best in the league. So a really solid coach team, and definitely was a big reason why they made a nice playoff run and were cup contenders. They did beat the Dallas Stars in 6 games, but then took on a hungry-powered Colorado Avalanche team and lost in 5. Again, the injuries to Jonas Brodin and Joel Eriksson Ek definitely hurt them in the long run there. All in all, at the end of things. So we can see what they did stats-wise. Kirill Kaprizov leads the way with 89 points, 45 goals, and 44 assists. Matthew Boldy right on his tail with 85 points, 42 goals, 43 assists. Matt Zuccarello, who's now with the Los Angeles Kings, who we went over in last video. Go check that one out if you haven't already. Quinn Hughes, the big acquisition there from Vancouver, 5 goals, 48 assists for 53 points. Brock Faber, 15 goals, 36 assists for 51 points. Joel Eriksson Ek, another 51-point season there. Marco Johansson's gone. Vladimir Tarasenko is still currently a free agent. Could he go back to Minnesota? I don't think that door's shut just yet, but, maybe we'll have to see. As of right now, he's still a free agent. Ryan Hartman had a 23-goal season and 20 assists, so a really good year from him. And then Daniil Yurov, 27 points, 12 goals, and 15 assists. Somebody I think who they were hoping for a little bit more production-wise out of as one of their top-level prospects. Go down here, we can check out the goaltending tandem, which was still one of the best in the league. Philip Gustafson had 28 wins, 15 losses, with a .903 save percentage and a .269 goals against average. And then Jesper Wallstedt, 18 wins, 9 losses, a 915 save percentage, and a 261 goals against average. Both of them ended the season with 4 shutouts. It's a really good tandem there that they have in Minnesota once Philip Gustafsson comes back. You can look at how it looks on Puckpedia. We're going to use PuckGM here. If you haven't already checked out my rosters on Puckpedia, please go check them out. But I usually do it like this, where I name the team 2026-2027 season preview, AAAH for all around hockey. So we kind of look over here. They don't have much in terms of cap space, just barely over $1 million in cap space, and they already have a pretty full roster. You look at how they have in draft capital, which is not much. Second round picks with Colorado, third round picks with Calgary, next second round picks with Nashville, and the next second round pick after that's with Calgary. They do have all 4 of their first round picks in the next 4 years, but could that be changing with the acquisition of a Dylan Larkin? Possibility. Obviously, they traded away a lot of their top level prospects in the Quinn Hughes trade. And they definitely need to get him re-signed, which we will go down and talk about here. Obviously, he's 26 years old, going into the last year of his contract. The big rumor has been a 3-year, like $18 million contract. I don't think he's going to go over much more than 3 years. I do think the plan is maybe to hopefully team up with his brothers eventually. Is that going to be in New Jersey? Is it going to be somewhere else? Obviously, both of his brothers are in New Jersey right now, so New Jersey obviously has a leg up in that type of a situation. Jack's got like 4 years remaining left on his contract. I don't think Quinn goes for much more than 3. I do think Bill Guerin tries to get him for more. And I don't know if that's going to work out long term for them. So, 3 at 18 is the big rumor. Maybe we can go 18-5 on a contract since it's not done yet, just to kind of sure things up a little bit more on a 3-year deal, and that gets Quinn Hughes re-upped there. Now, however, the big rumor that's been going around lately is the reason Quinn Hughes might not have signed his contract currently, and is maybe possibly debating going into free agency next year, is that Minnesota has still yet to acquire Dylan Larkin. Dylan and Quinn obviously skate a lot during the offseason. There's even been a lot of videos on social media with Dylan hanging out with the Hughes brothers all offseason. They all live in the Michigan area during the summer. So definitely, I think they skate over at Plymouth and at the NCDP rink and everything like that. So could that be a reason why Quinn hasn't signed an extension? Is he's waiting to see if Dylan Larkin gets signed? Gets traded for, maybe. All in all, you kind of look at how the teams are constructed right now. I think if a Daniil Yurov trade was happening, if it was going to be prospects centered type of a trade, I think it would have already probably happened. The big rumor's always been Charlie Stramel, Daniil Yurov. Obviously, we read an article recently where David Spacek was involved in that type of a trade, and I think a first-round pick was going back in return, but it was since rejected. So definitely, I still think the Dylan Larkin trade is not dead in the water per se, because Dylan still hasn't increased his trade list, and I definitely think I think everybody's connecting the dots that Florida's not going to be able to get it done, and Vegas isn't able to get it done, and now with Jason Robertson signed in Dallas, maybe that isn't able to get done now. So Minnesota probably still is the team with the leg up in the situation, but I definitely don't think that the Red Wings are going to trade Dylan Larkin for pennies on the dollar. It's just not what's going to happen at the end of the day. He's still got 5 more years remaining on that contract at 8.7. They still need to hire a new GM for starters too, which is another big reason why this trade hasn't happened yet. And as according to this video, a GM is still not in place in Detroit. So I definitely think, all in all, I don't think it's going to happen unless maybe there's a third team involved. And who could that third team be? There's some people have linked San Jose with a Michael Misa. I don't know how that possibly gets done. I don't think San Jose is interested in trading Misa. Some people have linked Vancouver on Elias Pettersson. Again, I've heard a lot of Vancouver fans that they're not trading Elias Pettersson this offseason. They're insisting on that he wants to stay. So, you look at that, and that probably doesn't happen. Some have even linked possibly a Pittsburgh trade with Brian Rust coming back. I don't think the Red Wings are interested in a Brian Rust since he's a winger. I think they're looking more center wise. And all in all, I definitely think maybe there could be a trade, 13 trade partner. One team that could stand out could be like Utah, if they were willing to trade like a Donaye, but would they be willing to trade Donaye for like a Daniil Yurov? I don't think that's the case. I definitely think that Yurov would have to go to the other team because I don't think the Red Wings are very interested in a Daniil Yurov. And there's one team that's kind of looking for a little bit of scoring help on the wing side is the Seattle Kraken. So I thought maybe this could possibly be an option here. Of like maybe you could go like a Shane Wright and you flip him to Detroit because I definitely think Detroit wants to get like a number one type level center. Shane Wright hasn't panned out to be that so far, but he has the potential and he definitely fits the timeline that the Red Wings are looking for to kind of get there. And as we said before, the big rumor was David Spacek and Daniil Yurov, among other things, going to the Detroit Red Wings. That was rejected by the Red Wings, so maybe they could flip that for Shane Wright in that type of a trade. I definitely think Seattle could even maybe insist on a pick. I don't know if Minnesota could do that or not. But all in all, maybe that's a deal that could happen. As you can see, as we're getting ready to make this Dylan Larkin trade, he makes $18.7 million as we go to the Detroit Red Wings and check it out here. Sorry, not 18.7 million, as 8.7 million. God, that'd be ridiculous if he was making $18.7 million. But you go down here, 8.7 million for the next 5 years, and Minnesota doesn't have a lot in cap space. I definitely think this is the golden child, the golden goose that Bill Guerin has wanted to get since the beginning of the offseason. And when every single time he's talked about a number one center, he's basically mentioned Dylan Larkin without mentioning Dylan Larkin. I definitely think this is the guy they want. Could they, maybe use what they traded for Shane Wright if that were to even happen and just go, hey, we're just going to go with Shane Wright? Maybe. But I definitely think that Bill Guerin has his heart set on Dylan Larkin. He was on the Olympic team. He won the gold medal. I definitely think he's trying to keep Quinn Hughes in Minnesota. This could definitely be a big bargaining chip to keep him in Minnesota since Dylan's got 5 years remaining on the contract. So maybe you could get him more than 3 years then at that point. But cap wise, I definitely think they would have to be a casualty. If they traded Shane Wright there, maybe they would have to include Jonas Brodin in this type of a trade, just to make it work out cap wise. Maybe even possibly Bobby Brink could possibly have to go in this type of a deal to make it work cap wise. I definitely think they would like a prospect like a Riley Hutt or Charlie Stramel to be that main centered prospect in this deal. So maybe you go Stramel. I don't know if Minnesota would be willing to trade Brink in this type of a deal or not, but maybe they have to make it work cap wise. Some people have maybe even linked Ryan Hartman. I don't think they would trade Hartman. Maybe they would even move Hartman back over to the wing to get that done. So you would have a lot of Americans there on that team. So you'd probably go like around something like that with a first round pick attached to it, and maybe even like another pick later on. They don't have any second round picks, so it's kind of hard to do that. And maybe like a second round pick in 2030, because why not? Let's just go and trade all of our second round picks at this point. They wouldn't have much in terms of cap space. It's 575K at the end of the day. For an NHL roster. So maybe they would have to include Brink in this type of a trade to make it work. All in all, I think that's a bigger hole in this type of a trade than most people want to give it. Is they don't have much in terms of cap space. When they signed Michael McCarron to that big contract, that really hurt them, cap space wise, and so that definitely hurts them in any type of a Dylan Larkin trade. But we'll try to do that one and see if we can't finagle things around here cap wise. Let me know what you guys think in that type of a trade, if you like that trade or not. But maybe you go like here, have a first line of Boldy, Kaprizov, and Dylan Larkin. Could be one of the better first lines in the league. And then you have Ryan Hartman centering that third unit. Could definitely help out in the long run. And then obviously there's also another cap spot that needs to be taken up here. So maybe you have a Carson Lampos up this year now, and now you're $1 million cap space over. So it definitely just it's going to be hard to finagle things around. Maybe they even send Pickard down once Gustafson comes back, and then Philip Gustafson ends up taking over that goaltending role there, and then you can have Carson Lampos there on the second unit with a veteran like Jared Spurgeon might not be too bad. So let me know what you guys think. If you guys like these moves or not. I think Damian Hunt could definitely be that guy to keep there. Maybe you send down Kirkland, and now you got the cap space, even though you're one less player short, still roster count wise. It's really hard to make things work out all in all for this type of a trade. But I do think maybe they could finagle things around a little bit. Take somebody a little bit smarter than me to probably do that, to be honest. But if they were to get Dylan Larkin, I definitely think that Brody would have to be involved in this type of a trade. I think Shane Wright would be interesting to them. Maybe they could just do a third round pick instead of a 30 second round pick. Maybe they can just do a third round pick later on in the draft. But yeah, I think Jonas Bernardino would be somebody interesting. Charlie Stramel, somebody who I think he had a big year at Michigan State, so the Red Wings had a lot of eyes on him. And then Daniil Yurov and David Spacek. I mean, it's going to cost a lot to get a Dylan Larkin trade done at the end of the day. So, it's just something that's going to have to happen. Maybe they could even convince Seattle to give them a third round pick, and they could flip that third round pick in that trade too. But let me know what you guys think down in the comments below if you like these trades or not. Do you think Quinn Hughes is going to re-sign an extension there in Minnesota? Do you not? Do you think Dylan Larkin is on his way to Minnesota, or do you think he's starting the year in Detroit? I'd love to hear from you guys. This is a very interesting team, and a team that's definitely got a lot more to do this offseason, and Bill Guerin is definitely one of the more active GMs in the National Hockey League. But hope you guys enjoyed this video. Leave a like, comment, share, and subscribe to All Around Hockey, the YouTube channel for the All Around Hockey fan. Our next video will be on the Montreal Canadiens, so I'll talk to you guys next time. Bye.